Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the great internet debate, hot topic, hot potato, roundtable discussion. Today, we're going to talk about the debates that just happened last Tuesday and the 6 topics that should have been discussed, but were pretty much not discussed by our leaders. So we're going to have a little hot topic roundtable discussion ourselves and hash it out. So I'm going to read off the 6 topics that Chris Wallace was supposed to talk about. First, the Trump and Biden records. So, the tax concerns and everything else. Second is the Supreme Court and that decision and that push. COVID-19. We all know what's going on with Trump and what happened since. The economy. Race and violence in our cities. And then also the integrity of this election. So I have a couple people on the call today. I have Casey and I have Ronnie. And I'm always into ladies first, so
Oh my.
not dead in this world. But Ronnie, do you have anything you'd like to say? We'll just take it one topic at a time. Trump and Biden records. Do you have any thought about any of that?
Well, I am glad that President Trump did actually release his tax returns, because when he was actually running, he didn't, which was, that's a little different because when he was running, 2016, he didn't release his tax returns. But you could tell that he's really evolved and he started to release his tax returns, even though he only pays $750 in federal taxes. I don't knock him for that because I have not paid federal taxes either. But I do pay other taxes. So I'm glad he was able to release his tax returns after saying that he was not. He did it. Or he may have been subpoenaed to do it. It doesn't matter. He did it.
He didn't release them. They reported on finding about it.
Yeah, they were subpoenaed. I'm sorry.
No, he never released them. He's been taking it to court so that we can't see it. That what you're talking about, where we found out he pays a $750 or whatever, that was due to the reporting out of the New York Times. He still hasn't released his tax returns, to my knowledge.
He probably, whatever he did, they found out he only paid $750, and that's okay. Right. I mean, he paid $750. At least he paid something. He doesn't take a salary. So I'm totally okay with that.
Wow.
KC, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I don't really feel the same way. I look at it paying $750. The guy's always bragging about how rich he is, and yet we look and we see that all these companies, this empire, continues to lose money. Not quite sure how that happens. The fact that he spends so much money on his hair, and he's able to write that off. It's unbelievable. Saw something on Facebook where somebody made the comment today, the president's allowed to write off almost $750,000 on his hair, and yet teachers have to go out and kick out of their own pockets to pay for supplies when and if kids are back in school. So just, this is a classic example of do as I say, not as I do, in terms of paying taxes. As far as we know, he's never paid them, or he has paid them, but certainly not to the level that we would expect somebody with his great wealth to be able to do. It's going to be fascinating once he gets out of office and they're able to finally figure out, dig down deep. I certainly hope so.
So what makes you think he's going to get out of office?
Well, eventually, even if he doesn't lose next month, then I would think he's probably going to, well, you never know. That's a good point. He might never leave, Ronnie. That's one of the things many of us are afraid of. So, yeah, you got me there, girl.
Okay, okay.
Very good. Yeah. Well, I feel that tradition has been not upheld in our country for the last number of years. And I think that these are things that we should hold at a higher value, and that Trump, he didn't present these things. He's hiding from them, and he's hiding from a lot of things. So I don't appreciate that, and that's not good leadership to me. And I agree with you a little bit, Ronnie, as far as, I don't like to pay Uncle Sam either. I don't want to put that out there, but I don't like it,
Geez, I
you
do. I
know?
love it.
Oh yeah, but I take
Wow.
it. But I give it to him, and we're on a payment plan. It's great. Um, but all right. So let's move on to the next topic. Let's see. So and of course Biden. Of course, he always presents everything. So he's
Well,
just,
when I looked
I
at
don't know what his
Biden's,
records look like.
yeah, they had his on there.
And his
Like in
wife.
2016, he earned $11 million, and then each year it just started going down. The last year, this year, I think it's back up to maybe 4 million, but in between, maybe around 2017, the combined household income was like $356,000. And so I could say he's lost money significantly when he left office. But, for me, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to get any of that wealth that they have, but whether they pay taxes or not, it doesn't really matter to me.
Well, there's different taxes involved, federal, income and
Federal
everything else.
taxes, it doesn't matter if they pay it or not. Trump just probably has a really great tax attorney. He
Great
probably
American,
does.
great tax attorney. Yeah.
What'd you say, Coach?
Great American with a great tax attorney. Yeah, I
Okay, but
really
isn't that
believe.
what you guys like, though?
What guys?
You.
I'm sorry. I like what?
Isn't that what you guys like? A guy making money and figuring out ways not to pay taxes.
Not necessarily. I think that if you're going to live in this country, there's a certain payment that needs to take place. I don't agree with a lot of the taxing situation, but yeah, I do think that people should pay their fair share. You make a lot of money, you should be paying a lot in taxes.
I agree.
Okay.
So, how about the Supreme Court? This push to get this new justice on the Supreme Court. The numbers. He's a numbers guy. He wants to get those results. He wants to get the wins in the column, right, Coach?
Well, he's already beat COVID, so yeah, why not? I got to keep wrapping up all these different victories before I get out. I'm going to appoint Amy. I'm not fully familiar with her name, but I do know that she's only been a judge for like less than 4 years. And my understanding, I mean, again, I'm an amateur when it comes to this sort of stuff, but I would think that a Supreme Court justice should have a little bit more experience, a little bit more of a history behind the decisions, the way they operate before, just because the chick's against abortion. Pardon me for saying chick, if that offends. I just don't think that that's, this Roe v. Wade thing is the number one reason these Republicans are all fired up about it. They can't wait to have the baby born, but after the baby's born, you're on your own. So that's the way I look at it there. I look back to when Obama tried to get his Supreme Court nominee put up. Mitch McConnell wouldn't. We're not going to do anything about that now because we're going to wait. It's just, I think, complete bullshit. Trump knows he's going to lose. He's trying to jam this thing down the nation's throat before he leaves office, hopefully next month. So no, I think it's several different things wrong with it. The fact that it's just not. It's too much, too little time left in this administration for this to happen. And number two, my main objection is the fact that she does not have the experience that I would think that somebody who's going to be on the highest court in the land should have.
Okay, I agree with you on that. However, when President Trump got into office, his entire cabinet had no experience. None
Oh, how'd that work
whatsoever.
out?
Okay, you're right. It did. You know, they were resigning and quitting, or being indicted.
No, or indicted. You're forgetting the indicted part.
Yeah, I said indicted.
Well, I
But
didn't.
when I look at this, when this Amy Coney,
Okay.
I mean, I really didn't do any research on her, but yeah, you're right. When President Obama was in office, see, that's the thing that I have a problem with both parties. They both have double standards. When President Obama was in office, they would not even allow him to appoint anyone. Now you have this young lady that President Trump wants to appoint. I don't think it's necessarily because she believes in abortion. I just think he wants to do it like he wants to do everything else. However, I do feel that, and this is just because of religious beliefs, that if that is the individual that's going to be able to save the babies in the womb, then I'm all for the appointment. And it's a female because of the Ruth passing away. I don't believe that you should abort a baby at 9 months, which is something that the Democratic Party believes in. I think that is very satanic. And I don't know why someone would say you can abort a baby at 9 months.
I didn't know you could do that. I'm not familiar with that.
Well, they do it.
The whole abortion
thing.
Here's my thing. I just always and getting back. This was one of the topics that we would talk about on the show. And of course, there's no winners. There's in terms of or trying to convince somebody the other side or changing anybody's mind. But the point is, from my standpoint, I just don't understand how all these guys, primarily males, primarily stale, pale males, are able to are able to tell a woman what to do with her body. I'm one of those guys. I just don't believe. I don't believe in that. I certainly don't enjoy having babies killed. That's not something I'm into. I raised a Catholic. I remember the outrage when Roe v. Wade went through, and my mother, I never saw her more fired up in her life, in terms of all this. But I think that you have to look at it. Women are going to get pregnant.
They are.
They are not going to. But in terms of in certain circumstances, it's just, what do you want them to do? Go back into the alley with the hanger and the this and the that?
Right, but why get pregnant when there's so many methods of birth control, though?
Well, I understand that. You understand that, but it happens, right? That's unfortunately the situation that we're in. I'm certainly by no means, I don't want to see it go illegal again, because it's just going to cause all sorts of other problems. You've seen it when these states.
Then how come people won't push contraceptives over abortion?
Well, I think they do. I think one of the things that happens is when they're able to if schools are able to talk about sex education, and that's a whole nother issue where, God, we don't know if we want to talk about sex here because it could get a little crazy. But when they are able to have that discussion and open up the eyes, it starts. And let's face it, I think and I'm not passing. I don't want to sound this like I'm passing the buck, because guys I know are irresponsible. Okay, particularly when it comes to the act of sex. I just want to get laid. That's all. And the woman, at the same point, if she's able to be a little smarter than the guy, have herself with the able to have the contraceptives that we talked about, and that's a good thing, obviously.
So why does the woman have to have the contraceptives? How come the men can't have them?
Well, the men should have them. What I'm saying is they're so. I'm saying that you're right. In a perfect world, sure, suit it up, baby, before you stick it in. But it's just not the way it goes.
Wear your helmets, everybody. Wear your helmets, safety helmets. I remember I was visiting a Catholic church, and I was in their school library, and I was looking in their health book. I was wondering what they're teaching their kids about sex ed in that space. And I looked for that chapter, and I found the chapter. And then what did they have in there? What they had in there was abstinence.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's it. They didn't promote contraceptives like you just recommended. They didn't promote any of that. They just said, say no and beyond, and that's it. And so
Mhm.
there is a lack of education overall on all
Mhm.
levels. And I feel that
So,
we need to allow the medicine people to help, to help the women in need, and keep the conversation on the front burner, so that if something does happen, that things can be addressed, just like cancer. You can address it in the beginning stages versus the last part. Not relating a birth to cancer, but just like,
Mhm.
an illness is anything. You want to address it early on, and there's that. Yeah. Any thoughts about that, real quick?
Yeah, I agree that they should address. I think they do teach sex education in school, but what about when you're 35 and 40? I just think you should know better not to be copulating unprotected. And then you
we
get
can't agree
pregnant
more
at
on that.
yeah, 6 months, 7 months. Now you want to go abort the baby at 9 months. That's just not
Yeah.
acceptable.
I don't
Oh,
think
I
anybody
agree on
aborts a
that.
baby at 9
I mean,
months.
I see. This is all.
But
I
that's what
go.
the Democratic Party stands for. Kumo, let me see if I can
Yeah,
pull it up.
whoa. I'm sorry. Hold. Let me. They stand for. That's the one thing they say on their bumper stickers. Abort at 9 months. What are we
They
talking
do.
about?
They're
Oh
not.
my God.
Okay, let me see. The abortion, let me look it up. The abortion
Yeah.
bill in New York.
Okay. So Cuomo is saying, yes, I think every baby should be, a woman should have the ability to rip the baby out and kill it at 9 months, right before birth. I just
No,
don't
that
agree
was
with that.
Hillary saying that, but he
Hillary
did
said
sign
that.
a bill. Yes.
Now,
The
where can you
reproductive,
cite
okay.
that for
This
me?
Oh,
this would
I
be
will.
this would
But
be
let
a
me read it
great
to you.
debate to have between the two of you. You could actually get the facts together, and we can create this debate about the abortion
I'm just off the top of my
argument,
Oh,
head
but
here.
as to
okay.
how the
So
debate Democrats
the
think about it.
Reproductive Health Act is a New York statute enacted on January the 22nd, 2019, that expanded abortion rights, decriminalized abortion, and eliminated several restrictions on abortion in the state. It acknowledges the importance of comprehensive reproductive health care. The law has received national media attention. They will allow you to abort the baby at 9 months.
That's what it says.
I'm getting
You
to
read
that
that?
part.
9 months?
Why would somebody carry a baby? Okay, I've had this pregnancy, 7, 8. You know what? Nah, screw it. I want it out. I don't. I mean, it makes no sense to me.
That's what. Wait, you just read the
Wish
9 months
threw it
thing?
earlier too, but
Oh
I
my
just threw it.
God. It says the new law codifies a woman's right to access abortion in New York and has also prompted speculation and claims. Readers have sent us a number of questions, including this is going to say if it's true or not. Is it true that the New York State abortion law allows an aborted infant who is born alive to be killed? And what are the facts about the no abortion laws in the New York State? And so this is what the law actually says. The RHA permits abortions when, according to a medical professional's reasonable and good faith professional judgment based on the facts of the patient's care. The patient is within 24 weeks from the commencement of pregnancy, and there is an absence of fetal viability, or the abortion is necessary to protect the patient's life or health. In other words, the woman may choose to have an abortion prior to 24 weeks pregnancy, typically ranging from 38 to 42 weeks. Unacceptable. After 24 weeks, such decision must be made within a determination, and there is an absence of fetal viability.
So wait a minute, 24 months. What was it? I'm sorry, 24.
24 weeks.
So
24
that's
to
6 months. That's
38.
not 9. Is that 6 months?
6 months, but it says that it can range from 38 to 42 weeks, which you're in your last trimester at 38 weeks. I think that's totally unacceptable. And so now you have a baby, and you have to, even at 6 months, are we going to keep the baby, or am I going to, when you have to choose? I mean, it's just, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, that's heavy right there, and there's a lot. There's a lot that we don't know right now in this little circle right here. But you just read that rule, and it's.
But I want to get back, if I could, just get back to the point that I would, with the whole Supreme Court, going back to the first, or the topic we just had.
Yeah.
That's number one reason why he made this choice is she is pro-life. and she is vowing to overturn Roe v. Wade. That's as he attempts to pack the court with these right-leaning judges. That's my fear. And again, it's just not fair. The fact, if he's so confident about his staying in office, then wait until November and pick it up there. That's all. Just trying to jam this thing right in at the end, and then we're dealing with these some of these senators who were at that. I've seen one thing where they call it the Rose Garden Massacre, in terms of how many people were infected at that super spreader event with COVID. There's a possibility these senators aren't going to be able to be there anyway. So, in terms of the confirmation meetings there, we don't know how that's going to shake out. So again, I stand by the fact that she's not qualified in terms of experience, and the only reason that she's qualified in terms of the eyes of the right is she's going to vote to overturn legalized abortion.
Okay.
All right. So,
are there any sports questions on this show? Because that's really my point.
Well, we can talk about. Let's talk about the vote, the integrity of the election. So we'll go from the Supreme Court integrity to the integrity of the election. What's wrong with mail-in voting? What's wrong with any of that?
Yeah, I like it. I don't want to stand in line and wait.
Yeah, why is there all of a sudden an issue today with any of it?
Well, who's making the issue? Where's the issue coming from? The Democrats? No. It's coming from the Republicans, mostly from the guy in the office, who, by the way, how does he vote? By mail. Again, don't do as I do, do as I say.
It makes zero sense.
No, right, exactly. And this whole
logical.
I've looked at it back when we had the talk show. This is back during pretty much the Bush and Obama administrations, when I was on the air covering politics. And voter fraud, if it happens, is so minuscule, and it's just in certain areas where it will affect more like a local election than the national election. This whole fear, this pounding on the drum in terms of, we got to wait for voter fraud, and I need my supporters to show up at the polls, and even if you voted by mail, no, that's not the way it works in this country. Okay?
Well, I'm a big proponent. I have my ballot here.
Nice.
And I'm going to vote by mail, but I might.
Now you're voting are you in Georgia, you said, or I'm sorry?
Yes, Georgia.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So I might send it in.
Yeah.
So you can walk it in. You can walk it in right now.
I don't have the strength or energy to be going in there for that.
Have you filled it out yet?
I'm not even getting ready to have no, I'm not, I don't vote the party, I vote the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very good.
That's the way
Did you happen to watch Biden last night?
No.
Doing what?
Okay. So how do you guys feel about the economy? You got the football back, coach. You got what else you got back? Basketball back.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, Jay. I feel very conflicted about the football on the particularly on the college level. The health of these young men, what they're going through, all the politicalness that went into that decision. These coaches are getting paid millions and millions of dollars. The kids are getting paid in books and classes. I have a hard time there. In terms of professional football, that's a whole different thing. Paying the individuals, they're able to risk themselves in this way. I'm surprised that football is back. I'm happy it's back. It's a great diversion. But I've got concerns. I'll be interested to see what happens throughout the course of the season. I mean, look at last night, Monday night, they had to reschedule the Patriots because one player, Cam Newton, tested positive.
Wow.
And they still played the game. So it's just, it's kind of like, stadium. Oh yeah. Well, no, last night they did have some fans in Kansas City. They were able to have about 15,000, I believe. But by the same token, the whole thing is like building an airplane when you're in midair and trying to construct things that are happening throughout the course of this season. So And I've got the basketball game on here in the bubble. They sure have done it right. It's hard to believe the safest place in the country is inside Disney World in the NBA bubble. Not one player has tested positive to COVID ever since they started this. I can't believe they've been able to pull this off.
Happiest place.
And I hope the Heat cover. No, I'm kidding.
What was that?
I said I hope the Heat cover. I put money on them tonight. So just Heat.
The happiest place on earth, huh, Coach?
Yeah.
So, what you have anything about the economy, Miss Ronnie?
The economy. Well, what I don't like, I think the economy is coming back slowly. For us, we did not, we still stayed in production, even though things were shut down. We stopped working for 3 weeks and then we went back into production. So I think the economy is coming back. I would say that prior to COVID, I had, there was a plan, but of course it didn't happen. So I think the economy is coming back. More businesses are open. More people are going back to work. But, you still have that handful who are not working. What I think would help, because today the president did say that he was going to wait until after he was reelected to focus on a stimulus bill. That is what I have a problem with. That's not being a leader. That's being selfish, and it's not taking into consideration the people who are at the ground level who cannot meet their monthly obligations. And that is what needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I agree. It's something that it triggered in my head was what Coach was saying about the football players and everybody, and I think it says the accountability age presents, because we're moving out of the information age and into the accountability age.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about, how Rome and the Roman Empire fell. And I think about the Colosseums that they had and how the gladiators were entertaining the people, and so we have the football players out there, we got the NBA players out there, and they're out there entertaining us when we're stuck at home or whatever. And so it's almost like another level of enslavement to society on some level. Even though they're playing a game, they know what to do, but it's like the whole thing, oh no, we got to bring this back, the economy back, because it's not normal not to have football, not to have this and not to have that. But we're putting people some people are being put more at risk than others, and
but it's interesting how it all tied down along. You look at the South, and those are all. I get my colors mixed up, man. I can't tell red from blue, but those are mostly the Republican states down there, and they're the ones that were fraud. You don't understand. It just means so much more to us down here, y'all. The Yankees just don't understand the way football's supposed to be for us. You understand? It's a bunch of bullshit in terms of what I'm seeing. I think that they have done a nice job, though, or a decent job, in terms of trying to keep the players isolated. Most of them don't go to class, so they don't have to worry about that anymore. But I'm just still waiting, man. We've seen games, Notre Dame. Look what's happened in Notre Dame. Let's go to Notre Dame. Tying it all together, Jay, what I love doing. Tying together Notre Dame with the Supreme Court Justice and the president of Notre Dame going to that Rose Garden massacre. We're not wearing a mask. Shows back up on cap. Oh, sorry. I violated the code that I myself said we should do by wearing a mask everywhere to keep us safe. Not happening. Notre Dame canceling several games so far is not that those two were related, of course. The president didn't come in and affect the team, but it just sends a bad message all around. I'm glad that we do have the diversion that is here for us. It is some sort of normality, if you will, during what are still trying times. I don't know the situation in Georgia, but we're still pretty much on lockdown here. Talking about the economy earlier, my friends who are bartenders are not working. My friends who are musicians are out of work. They can't perform. My friends that have other jobs have been greatly affected by this. I have a friend of mine whose father was out picking produce in the smoke and all the haze that was happening.
Yeah.
And not to mention the COVID in terms of what's going on. So, yeah, the economy may be better where you are, but it certainly isn't all that great here in the
well, you need to write Nancy Pelosi a letter and tell her But she did present the stimulus package, and President Trump said, "No, I'm not going to make a decision until after the election," which is not fair. But
Yeah.
yeah, people are hurting, and we do empathize with them, and we try to figure out ways to where we can reach in and help. But there's only so much you can do. So what I really recommend is that people start to always have a plan A. Let your plan A be your plan A, and let your traditional 9 to 5 be your plan B. And this is the opportunity and time to learn how to be more creative and more innovative, and not really depend on the system, because the system has failed us all. It failed me as a business owner. So, I don't know what to say. So hopefully the economy will come back. I see it kind of coming back here, but I am in a red state. But in the blue states, it's, in some areas, it's just not doing well at all.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move into COVID-19, and then we'll finish up with the race and violence in our country, in our cities. COVID-19, is helping keep the economy at bay, and the different nuances of government in each community that are coming up with their own policies and regulations, and however they want to, shoot from the hip as far as what they think is best for their area, plus with the health governmental health agencies involved to direct them as well. It's but I think the whole argument between the red and blue states with wearing a mask to help open the economy is an interesting twist. And then as far as what happened with the president just the other day with the COVID-19, as far as that goes, when karma meets compassion, that happened recently with karma hit him, and then now we all have passionate.
It goes beyond karma. It goes beyond the fact that he was flaunting it, the fact that the rules don't apply to him, even though he had his experts telling him what to do, and he just thought he'd look like a pussy if he put a mask on. Big tough guy, don't wear mask. I'm so sick of it, man. And the fact that this has been going on for so long, the fact that we can't in this country, the United States, can't even unite on the fact that we need to cover ourselves up so that we don't spit on anybody or have them spit on us. It's kind of basic. I just get so sick of it. It's funny, Jay. I've been making myself watch Fox News, which is something I don't really enjoy doing. But just sitting here and listening to these folks, just pounding on the drumbeat in terms of how our personal liberties are being violated, and they're taking it away because you have to wear a mask. I just don't believe it. The fact that you would just tie yourself up into that, fall on that cross, if you will. The fact that I don't want to I'm going to be a big asshole and only care about my freedom. I don't give a shit about anybody else's health, or the fact that I might infect you and you'll bring it home to your aging grandparents or whomever you're living with, and possibly infecting them. I hate wearing a mask. I know I look a lot better with it on, but I hate wearing it. But I do it because we're supposed to do it. Right. And the fact that I can't tell you how happy I was with this is several months ago. Some a-hole comes up to me and calls me a sheeple and a snowflake because I was wearing my mask. It made me so happy to know that people in my country had to go to the name calling and dismiss me as a snowflake sheeple because I didn't want to, who knows, infect each other or anybody. Crazy.
Wow. Well, okay, so the President Trump and the COVID issue, I was wondering if he really had it. I'm still debating that. Was it a publicity stunt so that it could turn things around?
Yeah, a lot of people thought that.
Yeah, so that it could turn things around when his next debate, and because that's the ammunition that the Team Biden has against him. And so when he can say, well, you know what, I was affected with it. I'm still wondering if it was a publicity stunt because he did recover pretty quickly. Whereas I've had, like one of our managing editors had COVID and it took them 3 weeks. to recover. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
but
still
let me just,
debating that.
your editor didn't have access to Walter Reed Medical Center.
No,
Did
he
not
did
have
not.
access to all the experimental drugs that
Yes.
are pumped into this guy. And who knows? I mean, I'm not even sure that they're completely honest with us in terms of if he did have it, what happened. You get tied up into what was the oxygen. These drugs have a 40% chance of altering the mood and the behavior of those who take it. This is,
Right.
I mean, it's pretty incredible. I read about these drugs a little bit, and I mean, it's great that he's able to get it. That's the stuff. The one steroid they give to you is like when you're ready to get read the last rites. That's the last thing they give you. They gave it to him right in the front of it. So we'll see what happens on all that. But then to show up at the White House, and I thought it was great to see him gasping when he got up to the top step as he removed the mask and then saluting. Where did he learn to salute? He certainly wasn't a military officer due to the bone spurs. And then walking inside the White House without the mask. The video crew is in there. They're saying, oh, there's nobody in there. Well, somebody shot that freaking video. And I saw a White House photographer running around. I see where members of the White House staff who are on the maintenance, maybe housekeepers, whatever, they've been infected by COVID, told not to say a word to anybody about all this. And we just saw where another one of that guy, Stephen Miller, tested again today. It's just unbelievable. The fact that this guy has had his head in the sand and trying to think that this thing will turn a corner and it'll magically disappear. He firmly thinks that. And he certainly, I think he might know a little bit better now that that's not the case. But of course, he comes out and he tells us not to be afraid of COVID. Why don't you tell that to some of the people whose parents have died and the mothers or fathers and everything like that, Mr. Tough Guy?
Yeah, I thought he was going to pop out with a bottle of hydrochloroquine and go, hey, look, save my life, you know?
Yeah, here's your bleach. Here's your ultraviolet rays.
Sure. But, you know, where's Fauci at? Where's Fauci in this whole thing?
That's it, man.
Oh, yeah,
You notice there.
And then
where is he?
He's the head of the. He's a.
Yeah, but where is he? I haven't heard him. I haven't heard
That's
anything.
a good question. They won't let him speak. I saw him he was in one of the shows tonight. Either I forget which one. Certainly not Fox, but he's going to be interviewed later on in terms of. That's be the first I've heard of him in a couple of weeks, I guess. So yeah, I don't know where he is.
He hasn't been around. Otherwise, he might have got coronavirus.
Right.
But the thing is that who's the doctors that were being, you know, on the press conference there, they're all military personnel.
Right.
Who's in charge of the military?
Military hospital, so that makes sense, right?
Well, who's in charge of the military?
The first time.
It depends on which branch.
Oh yeah, but they're saying that the guy out there,
the president. The president is dictating.
Commander in chief, and he's the one who told the guy, his doctor was playing for an audience of one when he was saying how the president's just so healthy, or not so healthy, but he's robust and responding and this and that and the other thing. Couldn't even get the dates right. Won't tell us when he tested positive, the last time he did. When they first did the construct of the timeline when he was infected, it went back to before he took the fundraising trip to New Jersey. So they had to quickly backtrack on that. It's just a complete cluster.
Yeah, I saw somewhere where he's a public, how does it, they try to use HIPAA as a reason why they couldn't give the information, but he's a public servant. And so he's like, we should know more about what's going on with him, shouldn't we? I mean,
so if you guys know that information, what would be the purpose of you knowing it?
I don't know, just so the best understanding.
Well, the word I keep hearing is transparency, right?
Transparency.
Yeah, we're definitely for transparency, but what would be the purpose? Because you're not pro-Trump for sure.
Oh, no, I'm certainly. You picked up on that? You're pretty sharp over there, Ronnie. I got to be honest with you. I'm not really pro-politician. The only politician I've ever liked in my life is Leon Panetta, who happens to live out here in our area. The rest of them, I think, are all crooked. I'm not a Biden guy, but I think he's a decent human being, and I'd feel a lot better if he were the president than the guy that we've got currently.
I wouldn't. I would not.
Really?
I would not.
Why is that?
for one, I'm looking at his track record. And also I felt too that he was in the
Who's track
shadows.
record? Trump?
No,
Oh,
Biden.
Biden.
That he was
Gotcha.
in the shadow of Obama. He really didn't do anything while he served alongside President Obama.
Well, name a vice president who has done something bigger than the boss?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I was just getting ready to say, like Pence, if something were to happen to President Trump, it would be difficult for me to receive from Pence because I've never heard his voice. He doesn't have a voice, in my opinion. And so for Joe Biden,
I'm sorry, who doesn't have a voice? The vice president or?
Pence, he does not. He doesn't have a voice. He doesn't have a say in anything.
Of course not. But that's, I don't,
Yeah,
I don't know. That's just generally the way it is.
The only thing I heard him say is that Biden is not going to take away our beef. And that was at a rally. And I thought that was the stupidest thing. But anyway,
Not taking away our beef.
He did say it.
Where's the beef?
I don't know. That's what he was saying. But President Trump, Joe Biden, I went through and I read his comments. I know how he feels toward the African-American race, which that may be shifted a little bit, but I doubt it because once a racist, always a racist. I just don't think he has the best interest at heart for where the direction that the country needs to head in.
I'm sorry, did you say Biden's the racist?
Oh, absolutely. They both are really, but I prefer Trump over Biden any day. And then Kamala Harris, absolutely not.
Okay, hold on. So now let's take it to the next step here. So the race and violence in our cities, and now we're talking about Trump and him not being a racist. That's what you just said, I believe. And then how he had a hard time shuffling through, no, I denounce white supremacy. Why is that so hard from the guy to say?
He did not get the opportunity to finish his statement.
He had plenty of opportunity to finish anything he wanted to finish.
He could have interrupted. He was pretty good at interrupting.
What's the gentleman's name? When he asked him, can you tell the white supremacists to stand down or whatever the question was?
Give me a name. And the guy and Biden said, Proud Boys. Stand back and stand by.
He was not allowed to finish his
statement. Have the Proud
statement.
Boys been in contact with you?
I'm sorry, say again?
Have the Proud Boys been in contact with you?
I don't know who they are. I've never heard of the group until I heard of them on the debate. But this is the thing. Before President Trump ran for president, he was in every rap video, anything, he was there. He became a racist after he became president. I personally don't think he is a racist. I don't think he has time to sit around thinking about what can I do to harm the African-American community. In fact, when I look at what he's done for criminal justice reform, awarding President Obama had the opportunity to award funding to the historically Black colleges, and he did not. President Trump did. When I think about when he said when he was running in his campaign in 2016, what do you have to lose? Under the Obama administration, the first year I did great. The second year I was homeless. And I said I would never ever live in a Democratic state ever, because in my opinion, they set the community up to be dependent upon the system. And if a person is earning or on Section 8, they can only make a certain amount of money to keep that Section 8, as opposed to saying, I'm going to get off the system and I'm going to work hard to, purchase a home. So no, I'm not. I think I just don't support that party, and I can't. And I do think Joe Biden is racist when he makes some of his comments that he's made. Yeah, he is. And I don't think that ever leaves. I don't care. If you can only hide it for so long, it's always going to be there.
Huh. And so you don't feel at all that Trump is a little bit racist at all?
I don't think Trump has the time to sit around figuring out a way to destroy the Black community.
But
however, the Democratic Party does. That's why they want the abortion laws in place. That's why they have abortion clinics in inner cities. I was in Bolivar, Tennessee, and Memphis, Tennessee this weekend, and I did basic training in, not basic training, but after basic training, I was at Millington, Naval Air Station Millington. And it was a small little community. But when I drove through Memphis, Tennessee this weekend, it was a dilapidated place. The buildings were boarded up. The only thing that was prospering out there were the liquor stores, the fish joints, and chain restaurants such as McDonald's and Wendy's. They had no presence of a Home Depot, a Lowe's, a Kroger, no real estate signs anywhere. Every other building was boarded up. So I had to take a look and be like, who's running and controlling this district? And it was a Democrat. And when I go into other Democrat areas, that is exactly how they look. And that is why they always push their narrative of giving the money, giving the tax credits to the wealthy, because when a person is living in poverty and they know that they're living in poverty, it's because they're on every program that the public assistance can offer. If you're saying that, okay, well, I'm giving tax credits to the wealthy, and here I am over here, I have to get food stamps, or I have to, get a welfare check to meet the ends of my family. Yeah, that's going to make anyone mad. And that's been the narrative of the Democrats forever. And it needs to change because it's so dead. It is so dead.
So, is there anything that you feel that Trump could have done or said that could have minimized anything that had to do with the racial tensions in America, like when things happened in Ferguson? Do you think that what he said was appropriate, or do you think what he said could have been said differently? And what could he have said that would have been better?
First of all, when I think of President Trump, I look at him. He's not an educated man, that's for sure. He's a smart man that knows how to take $1 million loan.
He's a very stable genius.
He's not. He knows how to take.
That's what he said.
He's not. He knows how to take a small $1 million loan that was given to him and turn it into something great. So
Whoa. How many times has the man gone bankrupt?
I know he has gone bankrupt, but what I'm doing is I'm trying to paint a picture from my story. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, I don't think he's racist. I think he was a man that was given $1 million loan, as he says, and he took that and turned it into something great. Yes, he had failure after failure, but he also had many successes. And I don't think he's smart enough to be a racist. To me, his intellect is not there. To be a racist, first of all, you need to understand where that originated. It originated out of Pulaski, Tennessee. And it started by, I think it was William Bledsoe, that was just a man that got a group of guys together to change the political narrative of African Americans once they were allowed to vote. And they went around doing the intimidation. It started out as pranks, but then it turned from intimidation into real people being killed, because this is what they were doing. They were hanging and lynching African Americans when they found out that they were voting Republican. And so our ancestors were like, no, this is so true. You can laugh all you want to. It's true. Well, if we're going to go ahead and we're going to vote
Republican and hang them. My understanding is that they were. It's not. I disagree with the fact that they would hang somebody just for voting Republican. I think they were hanging people for trying to vote.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you the book that you need to read, because they went back and did interviews. Read the book by Henry Louis Gates called Stony Roads. It has real life interviews of people that have actually witnessed and attest to their loved ones being lynched for voting Republican. African Americans have normally voted Republican. We were terrorized into voting Democrat. And that's been going on and on for years. So you would not agree with that, because you do the research and you'll find out what I'm saying is true. So when you look at President Trump, no, do I think he's racist? I don't know. I really don't care. But if I really had to put a dollar on it? I'm going to say no, he's not, because for one, he doesn't have time to sit around about how to destroy the African American race, how to continue to keep the African American race oppressed. However, the Democrat Party does. They only come around every 4 years when election matters, or sometimes every 2, and they sat still and devised a plan on how to bring genocide toward the African American race through these abortions, through the criminal justice programs that Biden put in place back in '94. And they really have a hidden agenda. And then they want to break up the traditional family and all these things that I cannot support. And then they came out with the affirmative action programs as a bone for us to say, well, wow, these people really love us. But the truth is, they don't love us, and we are woke. And 60% of African Americans are voting for President Trump, whether he's a racist or not.
What? Hold on a second.
60%, Coach. 60.
60% of African Americans are going to vote for Trump.
Are voting Republican. Yes, we are.
Wow, that's a shocker. I am not familiar with those particular
Okay, well, I'll get your email
numbers.
and send you the research.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's
because we're tired of their agenda.
I want to say that's fascinating, but that to me is really fucking scary.
60%. They have an agenda.
The number one, like you said, you were talking about genocide of Black people. I think the first thing you could do to show that you are in support of Black people is to say, I am against white supremacy. The man
I don't care about white supremacists. I don't care about white supremacists. White supremacists to me is nothing but dirt. Why am I going to be concerned about the enemy? I have weapons. So all the things that they've done to our ancestors over the years, we're not sitting under a tree or hanging from a tree or standing in our house because we are afraid of white supremacists. We don't give a damn about white supremacists. When they point one, we're pointing two. We don't care about them. Those old tactics that they did back in the day when my parents were growing up and while my grandparents were living, that's what they had to deal with because they didn't know any better. They were brought here from a foreign land. They were stolen and they had to adapt, but we don't have to adapt to that. We're educated. We're taking the Second Amendment and we're bearing arms and we're saying, you know what, just like you guys are ready for war, we are too. But guess what? We doing it several different ways. It's just not with a bunch of guns. We're doing it legally.
Yeah. So this has been an exciting.
I'll be dead. Oh, I wish I could say the word right now, but I'm not. We'll be dead. Like you gave me the finger. It'll be a bunch of dead crackers and a bunch of dead niggas. We don't care, but we're going to stand and fight.
Don't say that.
Well, you said for me to say it.
I know, but I didn't know you were going to go there.
Well, you said for me to say it. I'm just telling you, we're not.
You tell it like it is, and I love it.
So how can we make it so that it's not going to be a violent war or violence anymore? How do we get to a better place? So it's, I mean, how can we even get to that bridge? You know, today in the near future, who's going to help us? Who's going to lead us there?
People like you. People who really care about seeing unity, but the agenda of the world powers that be, which those 5 great people who own the Federal Reserve, who own the pharmaceutical companies, who owns the media, their whole agenda is to create a race war, which is why you see the Black Lives Matter out there doing what they're doing, and you see Antifa out there doing what they're doing, because they are funded by the powers that be that says we need to create a race war so that we can propel our agenda. But people like me, people like you, I really don't know too much about Coach Casey. We're the people who's saying, you know what, we don't want to have a race war. We're willing to talk, and at the same time, it's like some of us are like, we don't care. We're just going to be prepared. And they're thinking that Trump is the catalyst that's starting it and fueling it, and he's not. It's the media, which is owned by the great people in high places, the same people who killed Kobe. How about that? And don't come to Georgia freaking looking for me, because I'm moving next week to
Kobe,
Wyoming.
well, get back to the Kobe. How did Kobe? Whoa.
You know what I'm
We
talking
hit a
about.
sports thing there, Kobe, sadly, but
That's
I'm not
exactly,
sure.
yes. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't come Georgia looking for me next week because I'll be gone.
Okay, I
So
wouldn't.
this is a
Can we
great
do
conversation.
that? How
What was
did
that?
Kobe get? I'm sorry. She's
It went over his
Kobe.
head.
Kobe, what? He was killed
I
by.
said it went over. Okay, you live in California and don't know about the powers that be? I'm going to have to
I know
send
he
you
got
some.
on a helicopter that crashed and he tragically died.
Yeah,
What?
it was a helicopter that crashed. Okay, so another agenda of these people, this Democratic Party, is a one world religion. They don't like Christianity. They support Luciferian.
Right. Yeah, of course, everybody does. That's the known
Okay,
fact.
so
In fact, I'm
okay,
late for my Luciferian
so now I'm going to
meeting.
give you something
How did
really
Kobe
deep.
get back to
I'm getting
Kobe
ready to
there,
tell you.
Ronnie?
I'm getting ready to tell you. So when a person supports Christianity, we believe and we pray to God. We believe and we pray to through the Holy Spirit. Okay. When a person supports Luciferian, they practice witchcraft, voodoo. They do rituals. They do sacrifices. So when you have these two powers lined up beside each other, one who already has claims and sacrifices on a person's life, they're going to pray to their God about the other person. It's a
Okay,
spiritual
let's
thing.
find the Kobe
We're sitting
guy.
here debating stuff, but he has a lot to do with it. It's all spiritual, Coach. It's over your head right now, but it's all spiritual.
Way over my head, and it's outside of my thought. The whole Luciferian. What was the thing about Kobe? Who killed Kobe now?
The powers that be, spiritual wickedness in high places. Spiritual wickedness in high places. Spiritual wickedness in high places.
It's not a real person. The powers that be.
Spiritual wickedness in high places. Absolutely, they sure did.
Spiritualists in high places.
Spiritual wickedness in high places.
We call it bad vibes.
Oh, bizarre, man! I've never heard that one before.
So,
but it's funny though. Since I was at a pagan ritual and I did see Joe Biden there. So you're onto something.
See, now, you know what? High five the screen. See, told you.
Trying to keep this not from being fake news, everybody.
This is so not fake news. He just agreed. He just attests to it. See?
You did it. I had to.
Well, don't come looking for me because next week I'm moving. I'm moving to Wyoming. I'm no longer going to be in Georgia.
Back your word up, girl. You better back your word up. You better stay put.
I'm going to see you in Cheyenne, young lady.
So, and then, did you want to talk anything more about what was that law that you were working on, or anything about that? Did you want to get into any of that?
Oh, the one about the guys in prison?
Yeah, that has to do with, in my opinion, race and violence in our cities. I mean, you got people in prison.
No, the race and violence is happening because you have some people who are really out there protesting. You know, they burned the courthouse down in Nashville, Tennessee, right? Mm-hmm. Who does that? They burned the courthouse down. But no, we could do that for another time because I think I'm out of gas right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know Alexa listens to everything I say, and they're probably going to be, yeah.
There's going to be a secret. There's going to be a knock on your door later on. Okay. Yeah. So, KC, thank you very much for joining me. I want to talk to you more about maybe some other things here. We're filling roles, casting for people to be on the show. If you two are interested in debating any of those topics that we talked about, I think that abortion topic might be a good topic to talk about. That'd be an interesting discussion and debate to have. I want to just reshare to everybody that's watching, that chooses to watch now, that and that thank you for staying on this long and going through the debates with us. And this is all for the Great Internet Debate Game Show. And so if you look behind me here on the wall, there's information there on how to get involved. thegreatinternetdebate.com is where to go and hit casting now. We're looking for contestants, debaters, and we're looking for special judges, guest judges, and fact finders, along with voters and viewers. So please, we're trying to build this audience and build this platform of civil debate and civil discourse to talk about hot topics and bringing them together. And this has been a segment of the hot topic, hot potato roundtable discussion today, October 6th, regarding the presidential debates that just happened and the 6 topics that should have been discussed. Thank you very much, y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Ronnie and Casey, appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm going to
That was a
end.
good rehearsal. Are we going to start soon or what?